This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Yep, still here in the X-Zone after 26 years, 5 nights a week, 4 guests a night, over 3,900 interviews of individual guests. That's not including all the return guests we have. Yep, I still have white hair, blue eyes, and I still love each and every one of you. This is the greatest job in the world because I get to speak to the greatest people in the world each and every night. If you'd like to check us out online, www.xzoneradiotv.com and all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And for all the information about the X-Zone Broadcast Network, the great shows we have, our super hosts, and our broadcast schedule, www.xzbn.net. This coming Saturday is July the 15th, and everybody's saying, yay, but why? Well, that's when the next edition of the X Chronicles newspaper hits the print newsstands, hits the electronic outlets. And if you'd like to get a complimentary copy of the X Chronicles newspaper, saving yourself a couple of bucks, just send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and I'll be glad to send one to you with my compliments and the compliments of our advertisers. And it is 92 pages this month, 92, 11 by 17 pages in full color. And I'm sure you're going to find it very interesting, and we love putting it together. This is the 26th year of putting this newspaper out each and every month. X-Zone, my guest this hour is DaKara Kies, and that's what I lost. I'm sorry I had to do that. we were talking before we went on air, and I was asking DaKara how she pronounces her name, and she says, just remember, DaKara Kies. So there we go. Let me tell you about my guest this hour. She is one heck of a lady. I love her energy. She has an infectious laugh. You're going to be contagious. You're going to be laughing all over the place. So what I suggest you do is if you're driving on the highway, pull your car over, go grab a coffee, sit down and listen to this hour because it is going to be great. DaKara is a gifted intuitive master and healer and sacred light alchemist that specializes in clearing core issues, ancestral energies, and blocks so you can step into your true power, purpose, and passion. Oh, you love bug you. Author, certified master, energy healer, inspiration, money, and relationship coach, channel to the divine. I used to be on that channel, but we switched. DaKara's mission is to share universal healing light and sound with as many people as possible. Light is an alchemical healer that supports each of us, especially in times of transformation. Now you can receive your divine prescription and sacred transformation, and we're going to tell you how you can contact DaKara Kies after we talk to her for a few minutes. And DaKara, welcome to the X-Zone. I love your laugh.
Thank you. Hi, Rob. Hi, audience. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, the fairies tend to come through and play where all the giggling and the fun stuff comes in too. So, yay.
Tell tell us a little bit about yourself and how it was that you ended up on this wonderful path that you're on, helping so many people.
Well, I think like many healers or people that come into their gifts, they've had some type of life experience that might have kind of prompted them, or dumped them on that. So for me, in my late teens, I'm in my mid 50s, I'm going to say. In my late teens, I really was drawn to like astrology and tarot and different things. And in my 20s, I kind of started studying or going to see people to get readings. And by my late 20s, I was already working in the healing arts somewhat, or studying. But then I had a life situation with cervical cancer that really pushed me to this point of having to go deeper and to learn more and how to really address all of the emotions and the betrayal I was feeling from my body with this stuff that was going on. And for me, it was really like that pivot point of I'm choosing to go the holistic and natural route. And that's what I did. I actually pretty much after that even stopped seeing my osteopath on a regular basis, mostly because I really got into herbal supplements and the different things and muscle testing and iridology. And that's kind of what had led me really more strongly on the beginning of this path. And then I started diving into all the different energy healing modalities that this beautiful planet has to offer. Including, ones that have unfolded over time.
All right, my dear, please stand by. You and I have to take a break. We'll be right back. Exo Nation. DaKara Kies is our special guest, and her website is www.dakara.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We'll be back after this break. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Exo Nation, DaKara Kies is my special guest, and she is a master energy healer. Her website is www.dakara.com. That's DAKARA.com. So, what is your personal story?
So, personal story is around having kind of a life, I don't want to say threatening, because I feel like the cervical cancer was caught early enough, but it is definitely an experience in life that prompted me to go deeper, to look for answers, to move on to a holistic path in a deeper way, because I felt like my body had betrayed me. And that was probably the biggest leap or step over for me to get through. But I was determined to find answers and ways of dealing with actually several health issues, some of which were chronic at the time. So I love being able to tune into the body, into the mind, into the heart, and really ask those poignant questions to help myself or my clients move forward, looking at what the energy is behind something, because everything is energy. So we look at the energy of it, we make a shift, we rewrite the story, we transform it, we bring in some light or sound, and shabam, things start shifting and changing in people's lives. And that's what really calls to my heart to be of service to others.
Do you think that, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, do you think that the illness that you had was there to put you on the path that you're on now?
I do, actually. I think it was, even though I already had interest kind of in the realm, I think it was the little slap upside the head, per se, I'm keeping it clean, that really forced me to look at something more. I continued to have repeat challenges with the cervical cancer over several months, going in for testing every month, every 3 months, having repeat occurrences, and repeat, or not repeat, but different procedures. And then because of the work I'd been doing, about, I'm going to say 9 months in, everything started coming back clean. And not only did it help with that aspect, but it also helped shift and transform like chronic sinusitis. And at that point in my, adult life, I had to get a tube put in one of my ears. So there was other things that were also a challenge that also kind of redirected and corrected themselves.
All right. So what happened then? What was your next step after you realized that, you know what, my body's telling me something, the universe is telling me something, I've got a little bit of an interest in this? What was it like when you decided to go into this full tilt, feet first? Bang.
Pretty much. Yeah. Well, the other stuff that I was in a corporate position, a corporate officer in a small company. And basically, even though all of the cervical female stuff self-corrected, I started having a lot of headaches and other challenges. And it really came down to, I'm not supposed to be working in this job. It was the safety net. It was, the nice paycheck and, the blah, blah, blah. So the next step for me was to leave my job that I'd been at for 11 years and, and venture out on my own, which of course unfolded a very roller coaster path of ups and downs financially. At one point, I decided to sell my house so that I wouldn't lose it, kind of get out ahead of the curve. But that just led me into the next thing and the next thing. And I think that's what's important for people. It's like, none of those things do I look back and say, oh, I failed at being a healer in the beginning. It's like, no, I learned lessons from life's challenges and kept looking for the next step and the next direction that I was being guided to. And that's what's so important, is when people really feel called in their heart, they need to really follow that. Even though if the outside world or the programming or conditioning of what you've been taught or told, or might still be being told, like the people that are like saying you're crazy if you think you can blah, 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 fill in the blank. It's like, if you're following your heart and you're connected with the divine, each of those things, everything always works out. Somehow it always works out. And that's what people need to really anchor into, is that faith and that trust in themselves. And I call, truth and trust the big T items. It's the big things. We need to learn to trust ourselves, trust our own intuition. That's kind of a foundational piece, because when we're doing that and following the guidance that's coming forward, that's when magic just unrolls in front of us.
But why don't we trust our instincts? Why don't we trust that gut feeling?
I think a lot of us, so let's say that we trusted something and then it didn't work out the way we thought it was supposed to, and yet it was still part of our divine plan. But we may not see that, that thing called hindsight. Oh yeah,
it's 20/20, yeah.
Yeah, when we can look back on something, it's like, what, actually, even though that wasn't fun to go through, this is what I learned. This is what I experienced. And the more that we can move into, hindsight as foresight, and just trusting that even though this may seem logically maybe off, there's a reason for it. And if we can just be in the flow of it, I have found personally, things don't have to be quite as hard or as intense or, that universal 2x4 coming up and smacking you down. I had plenty of 2x4 therapy as well because I wasn't listening well enough or I wasn't trusting enough. And the more that I moved into that place of trust and truth and just accepting what I was receiving as truth, the easier things got, the easier life got.
So you two graduated from the School of Hard Knocks.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I think I have like a graduate degree from that because I could be a little stubborn at times. So,
yeah. So tell me, what is light alchemy?
So light alchemy, if we think about alchemy in general, we remember maybe the story of turning lead into gold.
Sure, Rumpelstiltskin.
So yes, yeah. Oh, well, it's funny that you bring him up because a lot of my clients have interesting energies. And sometimes I see these contracts and agreements that has Rumpelstiltskin energy on it.
Really?
So if you remember the stories of how he would have all these like little trickery things and, these clauses and to get out of something or whatnot, or watch I think it's the third Shrek movie. I love Shrek. It's like, it gives an idea how this energy can be insidious in a way that prevents us or blocks us from moving forward. But with light alchemy, when we're calling forth the sound, the color, the light, the frequency, the sacred geometry, and the light, or the light alchemy that's in perfect alignment for shifting or changing that situation or that story or that energy. There's so many different processes that I work with that many of them have just been given to me by my guides that are just profound. And I've moved into a place several years ago of asking and bringing in what I'll call an energy package or a light energy alchemy package, where we've called in all the energy that's going to help shift and make that transformation for the person that I'm working with or the group or, whatever.
Why do you think this type of healing, spiritual healing, light healing, alchemical healing, whatever it is, why is it so popular these days?
Because it works. Sorry.
That's okay.
I told you I'm kind of goofy. I think because people are awakening on the planet and they're not able to deny the experiences that they're seeing and they're feeling any longer. They're knowing things. Their intuition is becoming more heightened. They're having instant awakenings, and they start looking for answers because they don't understand what they're sensing or feeling or experiencing. Or they do say, okay, I'm going to work with a healer or somebody, or even go get Reiki, and they can feel the energy moving through their body. So as people become more aware and more conscious, they're seeking more for alternative ways and for answers. And also, I think, tuning into an aspect of themselves, knowing that, maybe those pharmaceutical drugs aren't really what's making a difference or helping me or, fill in the blank, whatever it is. And it's different for every person. I think pharmaceuticals and traditional medicine all has a place. I mean, it's necessary and needed in a lot of situations, and it's not necessary and not needed in a lot of situations.
I will agree with you to a certain point about that, but in today's society, a lot of people go to doctors looking for the quick fix. And, there are certain diseases that light energy just can't heal.
I agree. That's why I said there are situations where, and I think too, with chemical imbalances or mental illness, sometimes some of those prescription drugs are really needed to help keep people balanced out. I think it's, it needs to be more complementary, meaning that if the doctors would work more hand in hand and have a better understanding of alternative, natural, light, work, then I think things could shift in a bigger way.
Yes, but you must admit that there are a lot of quackpots out there who claim to be naturopathic healers and light healers and charlatans. They don't know the first thing about naturopathic healing. I'd be surprised if they knew the difference between the belly button and the butthole.
Well, that may be true. Those are not the people that run in my crowd, but
and I can tell that by talking to you.
Probably are. I'm just kind of not in that kind of realm or radar because I'm not out looking for that kind of, or looking for help, I guess. It's like I'm connected with people that I work with, and I love all my clients, but I'm sure there are charlatans and people out there. I mean, there's people out there trying to take advantage of people everywhere on the planet for different reasons, many for their own, gain, or they're feeding an addiction of some kind, or, whatever the story is. But I guess it's like that hasn't even been in my mental radar, charlatans or, like fake healers, but I'm sure they're out there.
I know they are. I've had a few of them on the show. Most people defrock clergy members. I defrock frauds over here.
Wow.
Heart point technique. What is that?
Heart point technique is a beautiful healing modality that was brought onto the planet and around 2010 by Rebecca Marina, who's a channel to the divine, and she works a lot with Divine Mother. And for many of us that have been on the path for a while, there's definitely been a feeling and a shift of everything moving more into the divine feminine energies, kind of, the pendulum swinging back the other direction. It's a slow moving situation, but moving more from the patriarchal to some degree into the matriarchal, and really bringing back that nurturing and loving energy. So Heart point technique is working with Divine Mother and other light energy guides. It's working with sound. So there's chanting involved, and the main chants that I use are from the Arabic language. They're the 99 names of God. And the main one is Anur, which simply means the light. So when I'm chanting Anur, it's just moving the energy, moving the light. There's different points. So we'll bring the energy down from the high self point, which is 18 to 24 inches above the head. And this is our what's the best way to describe it? Kind of our point of connection to the divine, where we can call forth and bring in energy. It's also known as the high self point, or I may have said it like that. So it's a place where we can call in what's needed. We bring in the light. We move it through the crown chakra, move it through the corpus callosum, which is the bundle of nerves. All right,
DaKara, we're going to have to put you on hold for a sec here because I've got to move everything to a commercial break with the news.
Okay.
Exonation, DaKara Kies is our special guest, DaKara.com. We'll both be back after the news. Don't go away.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Exonation, DaKara Kies is our special guest, www.dakara.com, and that is DAKARA.com. And before we went away, we were talking about so many different things. And I asked you to go on hold because I had to take the news break, so please continue.
Sure. So with Heart point technique, we're moving the light, and I call in the sound, the color, the light, the frequency, sacred geometry, a light alchemy. So I mentioned that earlier, and it's like, I did all the certification training in Heart point technique. I have a lot of certifications. It's like, really, that's not what's important. For me, it's what's important is my connection to the divine and to my guides, because they're always bringing in new stuff. So we move the energy through the corpus callosum, which is the bundle of nerves that connects both hemispheres of the brain. And what that does is it helps expand people's intuition when they're starting to bring light. So if we think about moving it counterclockwise, we're moving it from the right side of the brain, kind of the more creative, spiritual aspect, into the left, the more logical, analytical part. So we're moving light energy through the brain in that sequence, or in that spiral. And then we'll move information down into the midbrain. And some of that information has come from Dr. Pillai, who's out of India, and really working with the midbrain platform, which is this area within our beings where we have the ability to manifest. And we're really using sound and frequency there again, because sound and frequency is what helps bring or does bring everything into the physical. So the pineal, the hypothalamus, the brainstem are the different aspects, and there's other stuff in the midbrain too. But when we can start focusing on that aspect of our being and focusing on what we want to manifest and doing chanting, it doesn't have to be on newer, or Al-Mukmen is another one, which is about affirming in faith that we're moving this energy, or we're addressing whatever, is being addressed in that moment. So heart point technique then brings all this energy down through the throat and into the heart, and we're expanding, or I expand the light out so that I do scans on an individual based on the topic or what's going on that, needs to be addressed at that point. So heart point technique is really working with sound and light energy to identify what's going on within that person's being that can be assisted, helped, addressed, release old energy that may be causing a health issue or an emotional challenge, or a lot of stuff is ancestral. I do a lot of past life and ancestral work, because on those timelines, all kinds of stuff has happened. And because everything is energy, we carry that energy forward in our soul records until we address it, meaning it gets cleared or shifted or something.
You said that there were 97 different names for God.
99.
99. How do we know that?
Because this in the Arabic language, that actually you can look it up. 99 names of God in Arabic, and you'll get them. I actually have a printout. I don't use them all.
But let me ask you this: what religion is Arabic?
Arabic would be Muslim, and
okay, so why are we putting so much faith in the Muslim faith when throughout history it's been a fight between Islam and Christianity?
Right. So I'm not putting any faith in Muslim. Also, the Sufis chant. So the 99 names of God. And if you actually Google it and you find some maybe YouTube or audios, it's actually quite eloquent and beautiful. So it has nothing to do with religion. We're talking about a language that's been on the planet for over 6,000 years.
Well, wait a sec. Hold on here. Slow down.
Okay.
I believe there's only one God. So why would I consider anything that tells me that the God that I believe in is not the God that is being hailed to or recognized by this movement?
So I believe that there is one prime source creator. I think everything else is man-made. So I would agree with you that there is one God. And when we're talking about using something like Anur to help move the light, it's simply a phrase or a word that's used to help move energy. It's not paying any homage or anything else to a religion or that name. It's just utilized because it helps move energy.
Isn't there any other neutral word that can be used?
I think that, for Christians, if they wanted to chant Jesus, they could do that. I think everybody should follow their own heart. I just know that for me, when I'm chanting Anur, I feel the power of the light energy moving through and helping someone clear something, and that's what's important to me. It's not about anything other than that.
So does this technique, does it interfere with your own religious beliefs, if you have any?
I left organized religion when I was 12.
Why?
So, because I felt there was such a phony... I was at Bible camp, and I'd been stung by mosquitoes on one of my knees several times, and my knee was so swollen, I couldn't, because I had an allergy to it.
Oh, gosh.
I couldn't participate in a lot of the things. We were at a camp. There's swimming. I don't even think I could barely even get out and swim because my knee was so swollen. So I found myself kind of hanging out more with the camp, directors or people. And then one of the days I felt very disconnected from everyone on that that week too, as far as people my own age.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing in the back of the sanctuary, and I was observing how people, these children, were running up and throwing themselves down, and it felt so fake to me. And I came home from that adventure, and I said, I'm not going to church anymore. I'm not doing this because it's something about it doesn't feel right to me. And thankfully my mom honored that, because I just feel like if we think about one God and we're thinking about the energy, I don't need somebody in between. I mean, I am a minister. It's not, it's not about that.
Wait a minute. You're a minister. What seminary did you go to?
Well, I'm a minister through SHES, which is called Spiritual Healers and Earth Stewards.
Okay, so it's an internet-based religion.
Yes, but the creator of it is an attorney here in Washington State. And so I went to a formal, ceremony. I've actually ordained other people, but it's not a seminary where you're going to study the Bible, because it's not Bible-based.
So why would you become a minister if you're not religiously orientated?
Because in Washington State, I could do hands-on healing, which is what I was doing more at that time, without having to be a massage practitioner or anything else. So I could lay my hands on someone for healing being a minister.
So it was a convenience.
It was a necessity for me to continue doing my healing work and helping other people.
But don't you kind of find that being a little hokey?
I do not, because a lot of people are not religious. Even most of the wedding ceremonies I've performed over the last 20 years have been non-religious based. I mean, some people didn't even want the word God in there. My standard ceremony has that in, but not everybody, subscribes to that or doesn't resonate, or they have childhood issues around that. So if I'm being of service to others, then I'm going to be of service to them in the way that works for them. So to me, it's not hokey, because I'm not a traditional person to begin with. It's I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And
how do you know that? How do you know you're a spiritual being having a human experience? How do you know this isn't all just a bunch of PR that has been thought up to get a new movement going, and that, when we die, we die. That's it. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust,
Well, and if that's the case, then so be it. I mean, I have no fear of death. I have been into energetically and guide people into other realms all the time and see energy. And so regardless of whatever the end result is, that's what my heart tells me. And if I'm going back to that trusting and being, who I am, then that's part of who I am.
Let me ask you this. If that mosquito would not have bit your knee, what would have happened to you? Would you have been the spiritualist that you are now? Or would you have...
I would say yes. It would have been something else. I think I am on my path and my purpose this lifetime and what I came in to do. So whether it was, having an allergic reaction to mosquito bites, or if it would have been something else that, I was already not kind of buying into some of the stuff I was hearing at church at the time as it was. So it was just the way my path was unfolding and who I was becoming as an individual.
Would it be fair to say that people who find their way into the New Age spirituality and spiritualism do not fit into the sociological what's the word I'm looking for here?
Like the cosmetic makeup of that?
No. They don't fit into society. They seem to be outcasts, where they can't fit into society, into the normal realm of society as we know it. So they find themselves looking and finding themselves ending up into this New Age spirituality, which allows them to go outside the realm of the established and patterned sociological world that the rest of us live in.
Well, perhaps for some that's been their path, or maybe that's one way of looking at it. I don't think that people that are involved or following their heart or believe in New Age items are necessarily like black sheep, or, they just march to a different drum. And I think it takes many drums on the planet and many ways of thinking and viewing things to make the world work as a whole. So I don't think it's just that they feel like they're an outcast and they go out and they find, new age spirituality. I think people are drawn and called to it because that's what their heart is bringing them to.
Is it their heart that is in control, or is it the desire to be different, the desire to be, to be free-spirited and go against the flow?
I never felt like I was someone that wanted to go against the flow intentionally. I wanted to go with my own flow. So I think everybody's different, and everybody is going to have a different answer to that question, to be honest, because I think if somebody's really following their heart and being authentic with themselves and embracing their inner weirdo in whatever way that shows up and honoring that, then that's what it is. It isn't about going against anything else. It's about going with who they are.
But here you are yourself. You said that, at the early age of 12, you decided that established religion wasn't for you. And yet, you became an ordained minister, which is usually associated with established religious philosophies. Instead of going to a seminary and taking these courses and taking the long way, you decided to do a shortcut, and you went through the way that you did. I find it kind of a bit two-faced, where you don't want to be part of established religion, but in order to go with what you were doing by putting your hands on people without having to be a massage therapist, you decided to get ordained so that you can use hands-on healing. Now, to me, that something doesn't seem right there. What am I missing? Let's talk about this when we come back from our break. Exonation, DaKara Kies is our guest. www.dakara.com is her website. And we'll be back on the other side of this short break here in the Exxon as we wrap up this hour. Send me your email. Are you a believer or are you a skeptic? Don't forget the Exxon TV show is coming to a TV screen near you. For past shows, exxontv.com.
This is the Exxon Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. DaKara Kies is our guest this hour. Exonation, www.spiritualenergyhealer.com and DaKara.com are the two websites. And if somebody is investigating or looking for alternatives to life, like you did, And you know, I'm not saying that your way is wrong or our way is right. I just want to get two sides of the story. That's all.
Right. So if you think about the name of the organization, Spiritual Healers and Earth Stewards, it's an organization that was created by an attorney that would support people in following their healing paths and helping others and helping the planet.
Okay.
So,
well, let me ask you at this point, you know, that's a wonderful thing. People who have the same virtues and values that you have just described are called Wiccans and witches, and they are persecuted because of their names. How is society supposed to say, okay, your tenets are good, they're the same as witches and Wiccans, but they're bad?
Well, I think people that think that about witches or Wiccans or pagans are just uneducated in what that really is, to be honest, because it's an earth-based spiritual religion. It's about honoring the elements. I think there's a lot of misperception around that, just like a lot of other things that people just need to, if they're curious, like, go learn about it. Go look at what the truth is, not just based on some doctrine that tells you it's bad. So don't do that.
But isn't there enough in this world for people to do without having to go after outside sourcing of their philosophical and religious beliefs? My God, you know, that should be the very last thing on a person's plate.
Well, I'm going to come back to if somebody's following their heart and doing what they're being guided, and through meditation, through whatever form, whether they're doing yoga or meditation or, whatever it is, and they're feeling guided towards something, then there's something for that person in that. And that's what people need to do. Is when I said earlier about embracing your inner weirdo, it's like accepting that, you know, not everything is what the media says, or not everything is what it appears to be out in the world. If somebody's feeling something's off for them, or that they're looking for something different, or something that they're going to feel truly heartfelt and enriched by, then they need to go find that for themselves.
But the one place they're not going to find it is on the internet, because the internet is the largest septic tank that man has ever created, and there's more crap in it than anything else.
Well, I think that's true, and that's where discernment comes in. People need to learn to discern what's real, what's not real, do their homework, educate themselves, find what feels right for them.
I understand that, but like I said, in today's society, with everything that people have to prioritize, they have to pay the bills. They have to take care of the children. They have to take care of mom and dad. They have to take care of their health care because the government doesn't do it. They have to do so much that when you throw in the philosophical beliefs on top of it, I think we're asking people to do way too much.
Does that include asking people to go to church every Sunday? Or if that's not their jam, then why wouldn't they be able to dedicate their time on Sunday to studying what meditation is, or being in meditation and connecting with their inner guidance and their direct connection to God? How is that
if they want to do that, they can. But meditation can also be looked at as prayer in church, where people congregate. And they all have the same prayer, the same thought. They all, people who go to church, when they pray for peace. They pray for people who are sick. So basically, prayer is another form of meditation. When you sit.
Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess.
I pray for people every day. I pray for the planet. I pray for a lot of things, to bring balance and harmony back into the world we know it now that is kind of out of balance.
But prayer alone is not going to do it. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And people who really think just by praying alone that there's going to be divine intervention and that all the problems on this planet are going to be solved, man, they need a reality check, because you have to get off your fat butkus and work on these problems yourself.
Well, and for some, that would guide them towards being more spiritually grounded and finding what they resonate with versus going along. Pardon me?
How would that help? How would finding my spiritual grounding help me to help the world be a better place?
Well, I think everything starts within. So if it helps you feel more inner peaceful and moving into a space that all is well, I mean, a lot of stuff that's out there promotes fear, false evidence appearing real or false expectation appearing real. And people run around being these big balls of fear versus really finding peace within themselves, because that's where the answers are going to come from.
But if a person knows that all this fake news is out there causing mistrust, don't you think people are strong enough and smart enough to realize what they need to do in order to progress as a member of society without having to look for any outside religious affiliation or philosophy that may or may not work for them?
I think it's all perspective.
My perspective is that of a former policeman, a broadcaster, a journalist, and a realist. That's my perspective.
Right. And your perspective is great for you. And I'm saying everybody has their own perspective. And, I honor everyone's perspective because it's theirs and it's how they see the world. And that's perfect for them. But it's not necessarily perfect for everyone else, because everybody should be able and be entitled to have their own perspective on, maybe for some, devoting time to learning more about the chakras and their energy bodies and all of that. That's not their thing. And that's okay. Their thing might be something else, and that's okay. Whatever it is for them is perfect.
It's great to know your chakras. It's great to do meditation. It's great to do a lot of things that are philosophical. But when it comes to a call to action, philosophy isn't going to save you. It's action that's going to save you. It's just like when there's a problem, there's somebody breaking into your house. You don't call a philosopher, you call the cops.
Right. I agree. So I think, people need to know the right action steps. Maybe for someone it is about meditating on a regular basis. That's going to be their call to action. Meditation is still an action. Prayer to me is still an action. It's still something you are doing or being conscious of.
But isn't prayer more of a self-satisfying act than it is actually cause and effect?
I don't think that, no. I think that prayer is a call to the universe of what you're asking for on your own behalf or for someone else. Meditation is the form of receiving the information back from the divine.
Who is the divine?
Well, if we're talking about one God, prime source creator, however you want to look at that, it's that information is coming from the divine, I would hope, in most people's cases. Maybe not for some. I know people that have mental conditions tap into some other, different things. But for most people, it's where does inspiration and creativity come from? Where does those action steps come from? When we feel inspired to take action, like, yes, I'm going to reach out to that nonprofit because let's say it's connected to animals. I love helping animals. So I'm feeling inspired to go and donate my time or money or whatever it is that's going to help that. That is an action step from my perspective.
Okay, it's a matter of choice. I don't think that it has anything to do with an invisible divine entity or deity. I think it's what's inside you, based on the life that you've lived so far, based on your surrounding, based on what you've seen, what you've felt, what you've experienced. I think we give way too much credit to invisible deities.
That may be. Maybe some people do. I mean, some people are, into ghosts and different things. I believe they exist, but do I focus on that? No, that's not my thing. So I think there's a lot out there, and there's a lot out there because everybody has their own thing. And there's a lot of different opportunities for people to learn, to grow, to go, oh, no, hell no, that's not for me. And wow, that over there feels right and feels good. It's just like when you walk into a room and everything feels icky and nasty and bad vibes, or you walk into a room and everything feels great. It's like people cannot deny when they feel or don't feel something like that. I mean, they're acknowledging it themselves. So it's really about tuning into that aspect of yourself and knowing what's right and what's not right for that individual.
But why does this have to go under the auspices of a religious philosophy instead of just called humanity?
I don't know. Why does that?
Because
I don't think I put it there.
No, you didn't. But people out there love doing it because it gets them away from reality. It gives them their own little slice of the realistic pie, even though, in my opinion, they're living in a world of fantasy, a world where reality is not allowed. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's been great talking to you. And Exonation, if you'd like to find out more about DaKara, her website is spiritualenergyhealer.com or DaKara.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Hey, listen, you don't have to be a woo-woo believer, a guru, or any of these New Age practitioners who want to take shortcuts to be a good person. You're born good. Don't forget that.